Hello YouTube, I'm Sarah, you can call me Pixie. Today I'm going to be going over my priority books for 2024. I've attempted to make certain books a priority in years past. However, I never really had a good system of holding these books essentially in front of my face and holding me accountable. So I never really thought about the books that I was trying to make a priority in years past because I could never remember which books I was trying to make a priority. So this year I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, I've developed a very simple plan within my reading tracker. So as long as I am using my reading tracker, which has not always been successful in the past, but here's hoping 2024 is different in more ways than one. So as long as I'm using my reading tracker, I will have those books essentially at the top of the list, and it will be impossible for me to avoid knowing which ones I'm making a priority in 2024. With that being said, here are the 10 books I'm going to try and make a priority in 2024. Most of these have been on my TBR list for quite a few years. At least one of them, it's kind of embarrassing that it's been on my list so long, but here we go. The first book I am making a priority is Willow by Shanna Miles. I hope I'm saying that right. This is an e-arc I received now several years ago. I keep seeing this cover and kind of like staring at it in awe because I don't know what it is about this cover, but I just love this cover. But then I inevitably continue scrolling and end up picking something else to read. I think I'm just really scared to give this one a try. I don't know why, but I keep passing this, and so we're going to try and make this a priority in 2024. The second book on this list of priorities for 2024 is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I don't know that I really need to give a synopsis of any kind for this one because it's been hyped so much in years past, although that hype has died down because it's been out now for many years. I started reading this in a readathon. I think it was probably a tome topple. I made it about 50% of the way through and then put it down to focus on and or finish other books and never picked it up again. So since one of my challenges for 2024 is to read and finish 10 series, but also read books that I own, I for some reason thought that this might be a good time to read it. This is also an audiobook, so this will help me get down to a 0 audiobook TBR by the end of 2024. However, I don't know how successful I will be at making this one of the 10 series that I finish and or catch up on because I don't own either of the other two books. So I would have to either find and buy them or borrow them from somewhere, which doesn't exactly help in my other goals outside of finishing 10 series. So we'll see how this one goes. The third book on this list is one that I think I've talked about before in lists like this, which is Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is another one that I started in the past. I got only a few pages into. I was loving it, but again, put it down to focus on and or finish the other books that I had been reading in whatever readathon this was for, and did not get back to this, despite me enjoying the pages that I had read. It is rare to enjoy the first few pages of a book, so I have no idea what was going on in my brain that I put this down for so long and have not returned to it. But here we are. And so once again, I'm going to try to make Foundryside a priority book. I'm also very mad at myself because Foundryside is probably the one book I have remembered from every year and making it a priority, and yet it is still unread on my TBR. So, very mad at myself, but it will be read in 2024, or I'm going to have some very mean words for myself in the future. If you are liking this video so far, feel free to give it a like down below, and if you want to see more bookish content from me, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. Now, continuing on with this list, the fourth book is another audiobook to help me reach my 0 audiobook TBR by the end of 2024, and that is This Is My America by Kim Johnson. I don't remember exactly when I purchased this. It has been hiding in my Google Books as an audiobook. I quickly kind of took a glance over at the synopsis when I was looking at my TBR, my very, very long TBR of books that I own that are unread, and when deciding to make this a priority. This is a story about racism in America told from the viewpoint of a teenager. I'm kind of excited because this also looks like it's a standalone, so it's not going to drag me into another trilogy or series that I'm going to have on my series tracker, and a series that I would probably struggle to finish because I have so many series that I want to be reading, but you can't read them all because there are so many good series out there. But so we're gonna make this one a priority in 2024. The fifth book on this list is Bonds by Marie Ann Cope. There aren't a whole lot of reviews from what I could see on Amazon, so not sure this is a very popular book. Probably not very many people have found this. This one has to do with family and learning about the main character's ancestors, or possibly one ancestor in particular, who did something way back when and is now having an impact on the present. And there's also vampires apparently in this book. So excited to read this. It's been a while since I've read a book involving vampires. I'm a little hesitant, but excited to give this one a try. The sixth book I'm making a priority is Wings Unseen by Rebecca Gomez Farrell. This also appears to be a standalone, so yay, not another series that I have to put on my series tracker and won't have a never-ending list of books in a series that I need to finish. This is a gifted book as well, so that will help with the 2024 reading challenge I gave myself to read basically all of my books I own that have been gifted and are unread. I got this one I don't know how many years ago. I did not make note of it because it was so long ago, and I feel so bad that I haven't read this book. So we will definitely be reading this in 2024. Why do I keep saying we? I will be reading this in 2024. The seventh book on this list is Play It Away, A Workaholic's Cure for Anxiety by Charlie Hoen. Again, I hope I'm saying that name right. I have been recommended this book, I couldn't say how many times over the many, many years that I have owned it. In fact, I owned it before I was even recommended to read it. So why I haven't picked this up yet, I don't know. But that is a theme kind of with all of these books, is I don't know why I haven't picked these up yet. This is a nonfiction book dealing with the stresses of having to work so many hours. I feel like in the current times, this is kind of only expanding in terms of the number of people that are working like 70, 80 hours in a week instead of the quote-unquote normal 40 hours to be a full-time employee, although I've learned in some areas 32 hours is considered full-time employee. How's about them apples? So despite having this on my TBR for many, many years, I will finally be reading this in 2024. I hope. The next book is Witch King by Martha Wells, which I have put on, I believe, a few TBRs intending to read it in 2023, but then never got around to it. The other books on the monthly TBR that I had made were more interesting to me at the time, and so I just never picked this one up. So 2024 will be the year that I read Witch King, and I didn't see, it looks like this is going to be the first of a series, possibly a trilogy, but I didn't see a release date for the next book, so reading it will also essentially kind of cheat me into completing one of my 10 series, because it's the only book out right now that's in a series. Unless I can find some more information somewhere about when the next book is coming out or if this is actually a series. But looking online, it looks like this is the first of a series called The Rising World. So I'm excited to give my first run of a Martha Wells book a try. The 9th book on this, and these are in no particular order, I probably should have said that at the beginning. These are just kind of where they were in my reading tracker thingy, and then I kind of just bunched them all together. But these two were also the most recently, part of the most recently added to my list of books to read. Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. This is the next published anyways, but I understand that this is a prequel to Legends and Lattes, where we see Viv was the character? Yes, I think Viv from Legends and Lattes, and get a little more of her backstory, if I understand this correctly. And I had given Legends and Lattes 5 stars, and I am fully expecting this one to now be another 5-star read, so I'm excited to get to this. Last but not least on this list, Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is another sequel in a series. In fact, this is a duology, so this is the final book that I need to read. So that will get me another one of my 10 series to finish in 2024. This is the sequel to One Dark Window, which I listened to the audiobook of in 2023, which was another 5-star for me. And I am dying to get to this book. I haven't officially made my January TBR yet, but I would not be surprised if this one is on my January TBR. So stay tuned to find out what other books I might be reading in January, but I'm pretty sure this will be one of the ones that I plan for January. In this book, or rather the first book, because this is the second book, so I don't want to give too much away, spoilers and all. In One Dark Window, we follow... Do I even remember the name of the... I forget names so quickly. I have no idea. Anyways, our main character is a young girl She has kind of been shunned by her family and those around her. They're trying to keep it on the down low that she was sick with a certain illness when she was young. This illness lets people use cards to an extent, and gives them extra special powers. They don't need protection when going into a certain forest. I forget the name of the forest. And I really loved the magic system in this. I found it unique in that you have to be holding on to, you don't have to be holding on to it, but you have to have access to one of these many cards. You tap it a couple times to activate the magic of the card. You tap it again to turn it off. Each card does something different, and all of these cards are part of a larger deck. And for a couple different reasons, we have a few different groups of characters trying to assemble the deck, essentially to give them more power and or to solve the blight of the town. So I'm excited to continue and finish the series, this duology. I probably shouldn't call it a series because it's a duology. There's only 2 books. I guess it is still technically a series. So looking forward to this probably in January. These have been the 10 books that I intend to make a priority and definitely get through somewhere, sometime in 2024. Do you have any books that you are making a priority? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you next week with a new video. TTFN!